Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Elika Sadeghi filling in for Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there's a lot to get to in today's podcast. Shannon claims if the Cavs get Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut, he will be headed to back-to-back parades in Cleveland. Skip declares last night was evidence we will see a new Boogie Cousins in the 504. Skip and Shannon react to the performance last night by LeBron. Host of In the Zone podcast and Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard checks in to help break down the trash talking from Draymond Green and if he can be stable for the Warriors' title run. All three of us take some time to react on the comments made by Jameis Winston. Let's get it started with that man from Ohio.
Yeah, and right before tip-off here today, Shannon said we need Elika to be LeBron, and I'm thinking, no, we don't. We want her to come up big in the clutch. You know, when we need to close the deal, we need it closed.
We got 10 segments. LeBron had 15 assists. I think she'll be just fine if she hands it off like LeBron.
Well, speaking of LeBron, should we get it started with the Cavs?
Yes.
Okay, let's get it started with the Cavs. The Cavs beat the Knicks last night, but they did not make any big moves before yesterday's trade deadline. However, they could be in play for two veterans. The Mavericks waived guard Darren Williams yesterday, and he reportedly intends to sign with the Cavs when he clears waivers. The Sixers traded for center Andrew Bogut, but they will reportedly buy out his contract, which could free him up to sign with the Cavs. Shannon, LeBron has been asking for the Cavs to make moves. Is he finally about to get the help that he needs?
Yeah, Shannon, tell us.
Yes. Sometimes, Skip, the best moves are the ones that's not made. Now, you had heard the speculation that they were trying to move Amon Shumpert to Houston for Patrick Beverley.
Yep.
And the Rockets rebuffed that offer. And lo and behold, let me tell you what's going to happen, Skip. If the Cavaliers get Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut, you know what's going to happen, Skip?
What?
Do you have a landline phone in your home?
I believe Ernestine has one.
Okay.
I don't use it.
And when
She
someone
does.
calls, you know the sound that it makes?
No, I don't.
A ring, a ring, a ring.
Oh, that was clever.
That's
I
what-
get it. You mean LeBron's going to win another ring? So he's going to be 4-4 in the finals.
Yes,
Go ahead.
because this is what he said. He said, I need a backup point guard, someone that can initiate the offense when Kyrie and myself are on the bench. We need another big, just in case Double T gets in foul trouble. So now, if we can get Bogut and we can get Darren Williams.
Who's we?
Skip.
We who? We who? Are you a we?
Okay.
Yeah.
If the Cavs can get Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut,
Yeah.
Skip, you saw the way Kyle Korver has finally starting to say, you know what? This is where I need to be.
He's found his comfort zone.
He has.
We both stood up and applauded. I thought that was a lot of great help for LeBron,
Hey,
right?
he made 6 threes last night.
The other day, he made 8 out of 9.
He made 7 shots. On those 7 shots that he made, guess who assisted on 5 of them?
What did I say? I told you, another sniper for LeBron, right?
And this is what I love it, because now you're going to get JR back. It's going to come back in 1 to 2 weeks. We know Kevin Love's going to be out for at least another month and a half. So he's going to have to come back and get reinitiated into the offense. But Skip, Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut. Take it away, Skip. Take it away.
Okay, I'm going to take away some of your glee is what I'm going to take away. Because I have a question for you and a question I posed for LeBron last night on Twitter.
Yeah.
Are you sure that what's left of Darren Williams is going to be the help that your man LeBron, whose pajamas you wear every night, is that the help that he needs? Are you sure about this? Because I'm not sure what is left of Darren Williams.
I thought I'd ask you on several occasions, do not bring up old stuff in front of new people. Elika doesn't need to know what kind of pajamas I have. That's between...
The world knows. We talk about it every day.
Because you keep telling them. Skip, here's the thing. Let me ask you this. Yes, I think he can. Can he give us 12 minutes a night? That's basically all we need. That's all the Cavs need from him is 12 to 15 minutes a night. And let me ask you this. Is he better at initiating the offense than K. Felder and Liggins?
I'll give you that.
Okay, that's all they
but
need.
Is he that guy that you really need?
That's all they need. That's all they need. The King said, I got it from here.
I got news for you and for the King, quote unquote. I think that Darren Williams has turned into the Jay Cutler of NBA point guards, as in after his stint in Brooklyn, in which he did nothing but collect checks, big, huge checks that totaled up to about $20 million in his last year. He's made only $143 million in his career. Yeah, only $143 million. I believe that Darren Williams, injury-plagued as he is, lost his heart for winning basketball games. Not that he doesn't want to win, but winning is optional to him. He's mostly about doing his job and going home to his wife and his 4 kids, one of them autistic. He has a lot going on at home, and to him, this has just become a high-paying job that he goes and does to the best of his ability, but I don't see the fire, I don't see the leadership, I don't see the desire that I saw back in Utah when coming out of Illinois. He was a player that the Spurs coveted. Coach Pop really wanted to coach him because he can be a coach's dream. And in his Utah days, 19 and 11, he averaged 19 points and 11 assists. And they did one year make it all the way to the conference finals against my Spurs. They went down in 5, predictably. But the point is, ever since then, he has slowly but surely become a shell of himself. And maybe that shell is good enough to give you 10 minutes a night, but you better not expect very much from the shell that is Darren Williams.
Can I ask you a question? At what point in time was Jay Cutler ever thought of as the best quarterback in the league? Because there was about a 3 or 4 year stretch that Darren Williams was the best point guard in NBA.
No, he wasn't. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers from that year, but I never thought of him as that guy.
Go look at him.
Oh,
he was better than Parker. He was better than Chris.
He wasn't better than Tony Parker in those years. Are you kidding me? Tony Parker ran rings around him in that conference final I'm talking about.
Oh, you want to
stop it? Just stop it. Nope, don't go there. You're going to get crushed on that one.
Time out.
Tony Parker was a bad man in those days.
Now,
maybe he's not now.
Which one of those guys had Tim Duncan and Ginobili to throw the ball to? So all that you talking about running around?
Well, I'm just talking about the point guard matchup. That was advantage Spurs.
He was an all-star 3 times.
He couldn't cover Tony Parker. Stop it.
You make it seem like Tony Parker, Patrick Beverly. Tony Parker couldn't play defense.
Yes, he could. He could in those days. He's older now, but so is Darren. In fact, I think Tony's better than Darren right now. I'll take Tony Parker over Darren Williams.
You got him.
Okay, I do got him. I got him, and I got him going into the playoffs. That's why I'm going to go a distance in the playoffs. We'll talk about that later.
I guarantee you the Cleveland Cavaliers will advance farther than your San Antonio Spurs. Are you willing to put some dew on it?
Well, what if they advance to the finals and then pass Cleveland in the finals? You willing to put some dew on that? My road is much tougher than you have no road. The road is over. You're already in the finals.
Skip, as long as I got LeBron, the road is always paved with gold. It's always smooth sailing. Don't you know this?
I do need to remind you that Toronto, those Raptors, they made 2 big little moves, little big moves.
So now Serge Ibaka is the missing piece.
And what about P.J. Tucker? Maybe the best perimeter defender in the league? LeBron stopper and P.J. Tucker? Is it possible they acquired P.J. Tucker from the Suns just to guard LeBron? Is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible that the Raptors are now a much bigger threat to the Cavaliers?
Look. P.J. Tucker, you know what P.J. Tucker is known for? His great sneaker collection. He has a nice sneaker collection.
No, he's got them all.
Elica.
He got
the Yeezys.
He doesn't have Tyler Korn's sneaker collection. He's not in that league.
Yeah, I think he and Rudy Gay, they might have the top sneaker collections of all the players going. I mean, they might even rival my collection.
Okay.
But Skip, let's be real. I understand that the move that they made, they got Serge Ibaka in Toronto, pairing with Valanciunas,
firepower,
and they got Lowry and DeRozan.
Here they come.
And Isaiah Thomas. So
this gets interesting now.
So let me get this correct. You actually think that the Toronto Raptors with Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Serge Ibaka, and Valanciunas can actually challenge the Cavaliers?
Yeah, I think now with those 2 players, that's a lot of firepower.
Okay, if they had traded for Isaiah Thomas and Al Horford also, and maybe got Paul George, they could have a super team. They're not beating the Cavaliers. You know that, and it's bugging you.
It's not bugging me. I just think they're going to take their pound of flesh now that they weren't able. That they've been just backpedaling, right?
Last 3 weeks. What is LeBron?
So wait a second. Let's close the deal here, because the guy who would close the deal for the Cavaliers is named Andrew Bogut, who I told you was the missing link last year in the finals. After Draymond got suspended, then Bogut got hurt and could not play in Game 6 and Game 7. one of the better rim protectors in basketball, left the rim wide open. It was a freeway to the basket for LeBron James in Game 6 and 7, and that was huge advantage LeBron. So here he is. Suddenly, Dallas says, we don't want Darren Williams and we don't want Bogut. And both are, quote-unquote, free agents, and Bogut's got a big choice to make. He obviously does not want to go back to Golden State because they dumped him, and so he didn't care for that.
Right, that's right, Bogut.
Yeah, and now he has a choice between Cleveland and my San Antonio Spurs, who badly want Andrew Bogut. And my Spurs now feature the most beloved of the Australian players, little Patty Mills, who's very explosive and fun to play with. And maybe Andrew Bogut says, I want to play with the best coach team, the best share the ball team, which is my San Antonio Spurs, who would give them a leg up, maybe even on Golden State at that point, because they would have a real rim protector that they don't really have without Tim Duncan right now. So Andrew Bogut has a big choice to make. Can he close the deal for LeBron James or maybe open the door for my San Antonio Spurs? And I'm starting to lean toward opening the door for my Spurs, which would leave LeBron wanting that big man, unless LeBron can do the big chores himself.
All right, well, so far I've gathered LeBron pajamas, Spurs pajamas. No mercy. Are just 2 days away from Daytona Day. Full coverage from Daytona starts right after us today at noon Eastern here on FS1. Let's move on to LeBron. He had a triple-double with 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 15 assists in the Cavs' win against the Knicks last night. LeBron added a great chase-down block on Courtney Lee in the win. Skip.
It was something. No, go the other way.
Oh,
go the other way,
Shannon?
please. Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
How
Yes.
impressed were you by LeBron last night?
I've seen this movie 48 times.
Have you 48
48 times, because that's how many. The only thing that I've seen more than LeBron triple-doubles is the movie A Few Good Men, Malcolm X, and Silence of the Lambs.
Really? You like Silence of the Lambs?
You can't handle the truth, Skip.
Oh, I can't handle Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I can't handle.
That off with Jack Crawford. Skip, he does it so effortless. And only Skip Bayless can turn a triple-double into a negative. Oh, nobody can stuff the stat sheet like that LeBron James. I never heard anybody say when Magic Johnson and Jason Kidd and Larry Bird was ringing up triple-doubles, they were stuffing the stat sheet. Anytime you can do something more than score and help your team win, that should be a positive. See, also, I hate the term rant, because anytime you start to talk, oh, he's ranting. Ranting has a negative connotation. Skip, when you talk about LeBron James, everything that comes out your mouth seems to be a negative connotation. To my ears. Yeah.
To your ears?
Yeah.
Oh, well, help me out here.
Yeah, I'm
How
trying.
many times have I told you LeBron James is the best passer in all of basketball? How many times? 30, 40, maybe 48 times I've told you LeBron James is the greatest passer in basketball to this day. He has since he stepped on his first NBA floor.
Okay, this is what you do. LeBron James is the greatest passer. He's also the most mentally, fragile, and weak.
I don't say that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Wait a second. Can I finish talking about this triple-double? I loved it. I thought it was vintage LeBron. This is everything I've ever said about LeBron James to you. I've tried to educate you about the quote-unquote greatest player on the planet. He refrained last night from attempting three-point shots because he's a sorry three-point shooter. Historically,
better than Durant.
Right now, because he's on some late hot streak.
Better than Melo.
He's the worst three-point shooter in the history of the playoffs. So the point is, last night he only tried two. Of course, he missed both of them, but that's okay, because in the end, he had 13 rebounds, right?
Yep.
13 rebounds. What have I told you again and again? If LeBron James would put his mind to it, you say, the Cavs aren't big enough. You know what? They're big enough with the best player on the planet when he puts his mind to crashing the backboards. He could average 13 rebounds a night if he wanted to, if he put his mind to it. But no, he's got to be a playmaker. He's got to stay out on the floor. He has to shoot too many three-point shots. He's the best passer. Nobody can get in the lane and dish to the three-point shooters like LeBron James. He's the greatest ever at that. He could be one of the best, if not the best, below the rim rebounders. What is he, 6'8" or 6'9"? And overall last night, I loved it that he scored 18 points on 7 of 11 shots. You want to talk about efficient? Yeah. This was a great night. Now, for me, triple-doubles should be 20-plus points.
No, it should not.
Yes, it should. 20-plus points.
No, it should not.
I would throw out a bunch of those Jason Kidd triple-doubles.
We'll throw out a bunch of Magic Johnson because he had a bunch of 10 or 11 points.
Throw them out, too. But somebody should have to score at least 20 points before you have a triple-double.
That just goes to show you that there are other ways that you can impact the game other than scoring 20 points, 30 points, 40 points, grabbing rebounds. He also had 3 blocks. Did you see that block, Skip? Can we pull that block up one more time on Courtney Lee? Courtney Lee must have been on something.
Yeah.
What was he on, Skip?
What's Courtney Lee, like 6'4"? You know,
Look at this,
what
Skip.
is he, 38
and
years old
Bron
now?
said, you actually think you're going to dunk on me in my house?
I don't think he was even trying to dunk. I think he was just going to try to lay it in.
Yeah. Why that LeBron? And what made it so bad, Skip? You know what makes it bad, Skip? When somebody do something to you, they just walk away.
Yeah.
They don't stand there and let you see. He blocked the dunk.
Okay.
And then turned his back on it.
That's
say,
enough of
that.
That low-rent dunk. I mean, the block of LeBron's. Now for my turn with the video.
What?
Did you see what LeBron did dunking the basketball last night? This is the same LeBron James who for 14 years has refused to stoop to doing the. Look at that. Now that was a dunk.
Skip,
you know
I
what?
can do that.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah.
Let's go try it right now. Let's go see what happens right now. I don't think you can do that.
It's not the getting up part, Skip. Yeah. It's the coming down that's painful.
Yeah. And wait a second. Boom! Boom!
The unicorn.
Can you believe that?
The unicorn.
Now wait a second.
Part of that.
If LeBron James had done either of those dunks last Saturday night, he gets 10 from every judge. He wins. Yes, sir. He wins the dunk contest. LeBron, you're afraid to do the dunk contest when you're one of the best in-game dunkers we've ever seen. And he's going to flex to the crowd after that.
That's right.
He should have been flexing on Saturday night to that crowd in New Orleans because he would have won the dunk contest. He showed you again. How old's LeBron now? 38?
32.
Oh, 32. Okay. He's only 32. It seems like he's been around longer than that.
But
His
I tell you,
14th year, he can still dunk with anybody in the game, and he should have been in the dunk contest last Saturday night. You don't think he could out-dunk DeAndre Jordan? Are you kidding me?
This is what we know. I bet you Steph Curry, because you know what he did to Steph Curry like 5 times in last year's playoffs.
Yep.
I bet Steph Curry, I bet Andre Iguodala, and I guarantee you, Courtney Lee. When you mention their names and they lay in the ball, they're like, I don't want to lay up. Just go ahead on. Because you already know what's.
Really?
The man blocked the dunk and turned his back on him, Skip.
Yeah.
See,
Courtney Lee of the New York Knicks. Are we talking about that dunk last night? I mean, that block?
Oh, but see, I know I love what you love to do. See how you anything
the
that
Knicks? You're going to take credit for that?
Anything that LeBron does, you try to minimize it.
I just maximized everything he said.
Hey,
I just shot you down. I showed you. This was a classic night. We saw how great LeBron could be if he concentrated on what he's great at.
When has he not ever been great?
When he shoots 1 for 9 from 3. That's when he's not great.
When has he ever shot 1 from 9 for 3, Skip?
I could go back and show you a bunch of times.
Well, go back
1 for 8, 0 for 7.
Since the man has been 15 years of age, he's been great. Okay. He's been historically and transcendental.
I thought we were just talking about this game last night.
Oh, that was nothing. I mean, I've seen him.
13 rebounds? Why doesn't he do that every night, Shannon Sharpe? Why doesn't he do more of that?
How many times?
Why can't he rebound like that on a nightly basis?
Because
he's capable. He showed you he's capable.
Skip, because you got 2 guys on your team that already average double-digit rebounds. Why am I going to be fighting for you? I'm not like somebody else. I'm not calling any names, trying to get no triple-doubles. That's what we play. We pay.
Wait, you're taking a shot at Russell Westbrook?
I'm not taking a shot at anybody. All I'm saying is Tristan Thompson makes $15, $16 million a year to guard the paint and rebound. Kevin Love makes $20 million a year to stand out by the three-point line and get rebounds. LeBron James, you orchestrate. You know, he's the Philharmonic. He's the guy at the Boston Pop, the Symphony. That's what he does, everything.
Best passer in basketball.
He's the best player.
I educated you on that.
The best basketball player.
Oh, really? Is he going to be the MVP?
If he
Russell Westbrook will win MVP when he averages a triple-double.
This is what I'm saying, Skip. If it dribbles a basketball and it breathes oxygen, LeBron James is the best.
Okay.
So, now they did find, 40 other planets that's circling that could be, and they might have life form on it.
Help me out. How can 6'2.5" Russell Westbrook average more than 10 rebounds a night?
And be the 7th seed?
How can you do that?
And win 25
games? And be the 4th seed?
They're not.
You know what?
You.
The superstar who actually needed help was Russell Westbrook, and he got some help yesterday.
Did they
Taj Gibson?
Hold on. Did they
Doug McDermott?
Yeah.
That's some help.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Exactly.
4 seed. Here they come.
So why did they get those? Oh, because Russell needed help.
Oh, but he doesn't stand up and whine and cry about needing help. He
so
doesn't say a word about it.
No,
he doesn't.
Skip.
I need help.
Closed mouth don't get fed, Skip.
I think we do know by now that Russell embraces having to do things on his own.
No mercy.
The Warriors beat the Clippers last night thanks to a 50-point third quarter, but the bigger story was Draymond Green. Less than a minute into the game, Draymond was heard yelling at Paul Pierce on the Clippers bench. Take a listen.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that. You can't get no farewell tour, they don't love you like that. You thought you was Kobe? You ain't Kobe.
Paul Pierce tweeted after the game, 73 wins and you thought you was going to win a title that year. 3-1 lead, oops. Then later in the first quarter, Draymond appeared to kick Blake Griffin, but no foul was called. And then in the third quarter, Draymond got tangled up with Blake and got called for a foul. Draymond was then called for a technical for arguing the call. Kevin Durant and Steve Kerr talked about it after the game.
We had a talk today about the officiating and how we're going to approach the officials, and I told them, I said, let's see if we can take a different tack, and myself included. Let's lay off these guys. I want Draymond to go right up to the edge and not cross it, and that's asking a lot because it's he plays right on that edge all the time. That's why he's so great. It's why he is who he is. We need that.
With 5 fouls. He might have fouled out. Well, 5 fouls, and he had 4 early in the third quarter, and he just kept his composure. Well, he didn't keep his composure. He stayed in the game, and his energy was kind of contagious, like you said.
Chris Broussard is with us. Chris, has Draymond gone over the edge?
No. First, let me say that was top-notch trash talk.
You've been reading my book.
I don't know as much about trash talk as you, but that is great. And I think Paul Pierce probably, even though he's upset about it, he can appreciate the quality of that trash talk because he's a top-notch trash talker himself. But he has not gone over the edge. I'm not saying they can't win it with Draymond, that he's going to destroy the team, but they got to get this under control. Like, they know it's been a problem. That's not new. And you can argue it cost them a title already. You can make that argument. And what they need to do, because, first of all, the NBA, I think, needs to look at that kick.
He kicked
and
him.
give him a technical. Look at that, review that, and give him a technical. And I think what has to happen, because I could compare it to a couple of players. Ron Artest when he was in Indiana. Yep. Now, Draymond's not to that level. Artest was destroying the locker room, destroying monitors and tunnels.
He did. He came on the show and said he was losing. He would turn over everybody's food. He would snatch the monitor, wreck the cameras. He said it. And obviously, Draymond doesn't appear, he's not to that point, but they never got it under control, and we know what happened with Artest. Right. Dennis Rodman, I mentioned earlier, in San Antonio, he's sitting on the bench with his shoes off. Mm-hmm. A good San Antonio team that he kind of wrecked. He goes to Chicago. You have a strong player in Michael Jordan who doesn't play that, and he's under control. They don't have that personality in Golden State, not in the whole organization. Nope. Mm-hmm. Nope.
I think so. What I think needs to happen, Kerr's not, he had a talk. What good did that do? I think Steph, Clay, and KD, since not one of them can go to him and say it, all of them go to him together and sit him down. Look, we love you, man. We need you. We can't do this without you. But we don't want to lose you. And, just sit down with him and try to get to him, because just like Phil Jackson can control his foolish tweeting, just like DeMarcus Cousins can control his actions on the court, you are a grown man, Draymond. You are an adult. You can control yourself.
Max dollars.
Exactly. So do it.
He doesn't get it. This is his level technical. And I agree. When they review that tape, they're going to give him 12 because he kicked Blake. Skip, I look at Draymond Green. Draymond Green is Boogie Cousins in Sacramento. The only difference, he's on a winning team. His actions are the same. He's doing the exact same thing. The only difference because if Boogie Cousins was winning, they would have never had a problem with what they were doing in Sacramento. They're winning these ball games now, and so they say, oh, he plays right up to the edge. You would have thought a guy that was in the finals, when you're up, there's no way I'm going to do this again. No way am I going to let my team. You got suspended for Game 5. Skip Bayless will go to his grave believing that Game 5 cost them the game.
No, anybody with any knowledge of the league would go to their grave.
Okay, let that be the case. Don't you think Draymond should think that too?
Yep.
He's altered.
You got it.
He's altered. He is a less talented Boogie. He's talented, Skip. There's no question
not
about
like
it.
Boogie, though.
But,
and he needs to realize, and as good as he is,
yes,
because he's legit, but he is in the perfect situation for him.
Absolutely.
Send him to Detroit, where they need you to give me 20 a game. He's not going to be that guy.
Exactly. And the thing is, Skip, if you think about it, had they won Game 7, he'd have been the MVP. He had 32, 15, and 9 in a Game 7. That's legendary. That's a transcendent historical stat line. Against LeBron team. Skip, he doesn't get it. And they keep saying going to the line means you don't get the tech. You get right there. You look over, but you don't step over. The mere fact that he has 11 techs lets you know he's gone over the line. But because, remember we said this all the time, winning is a great deodorant. And the funk that Draymond is bringing, because they can mask it, because they have a KD, they have a Steph, they have a Clay. But this is unacceptable behavior. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to get fed up, just like Sacramento got fed up with Boogie Cousins. Even though he was giving you 28 and 11 and 5, they said enough is enough. And I guarantee you, within the next 2 years or 3 years, they're going to say enough is enough, and they're going to ship him up out of there.
It's getting closer and closer.
Yes.
I agree. It's close to the point that they can't win it all with him or without him.
So they can't win it this year.
I'm just saying, depending on his
behavior,
self-control, his ability to stay, like Steve Kerr put it perfectly, they need him to play right on the edge without going over the edge, because this team is fueled by him. This team lacks edge. It lacks toughness. It lacks whatever that energy is, whatever that thing is, that rocket fuel that is Draymond. Every night he's out there just in everybody's face. And I didn't love the trash talk of Paul Pierce, because I have respect for Paul as an elder statesman.
But it's trash talk.
Okay, I got it. But it's like, it's just, what's the point of it?
I trash talk old men, and I tear them up.
Okay.
Pierce trash talks.
I don't think he loved it. I don't think Paul loved it.
He wouldn't
I don't think he loved it, but I think he had to probably have to admit
all right.
that was a good one.
Okay, but you want to talk about trash talk? This man, Draymond Green, in the middle of Game 4 of the NBA Finals, screamed at LeBron James the B word. He called him what a lot of people around the league do believe that LeBron can act like. And it led to his suspension, because Kiki Vandeweghe said it was so audible that was a part and parcel of my decision to suspend him, beyond just the kick of LeBron down the court as they got into it. And obviously it had been the kick of Steven Adams in the previous round. So the one thing he does that DeMarcus doesn't kick people, right? I don't know, there's no cheap shots.
I think one difference too is that I believe Draymond's teammates like him. Like in the locker room, he's not a problem. Whereas Boogie was. In the locker room, he was a problem.
Okay, do you remember the night at Oklahoma City? We're going back, was it last year? I'm losing track of the years. But remember when Draymond just went nuts at halftime screaming at the coaches?
That was last year.
That was last year. It was last year. Yeah. And again, it fueled them, because they came out and won the game in overtime.
You could say last night fueled them.
Did it fuel them? They're down at that moment when he got the they're down 5 points at that point, and they went crazy. What was it, like 38-11 the rest of the way of the quarter? They scored 50 in the quarter. It was like as outrageous a burst of scoring as you will ever see in an NBA game, and it was fueled by this.
And you said in Game 4 that Draymond called LeBron the B word. But after Game 7, he also called him the C word, champion. Now tell that, Draymond. Because guess what?
You got it.
You know what? That's a stain. I don't care. They can win 4 more titles. You're never, ever getting past that. That man walked you down from 3-1, and you were an alt skip. No matter what you think about, the 96 Bulls could have beat them, or the 70 Lakers, the one that won 33 in a row. But if you win 73 games, you win the title, you are the greatest team ever assembled.
Okay.
The big three in Boston, but guess what?
Okay, but remember,
It would have went down.
the guts and glue of the Golden State Warriors is Draymond Green. He's not the most talented.
LeBron
He's the
gutted
guts.
him.
Okay, but he was not there when LeBron gutted him in Game 5 back
Okay, what
in
about
Golden
Game
State.
I think so what do you do? If you're the Warriors, what do you do now? Like, I actually think they need to consider, like, the next time this happens in the regular season, maybe suspending him themselves.
Maybe.
Like, for a game or two, just to show him, look, this has got to stop. If he's acting like a child, which he is in these instances, you have to treat him like that and discipline them and show them the error of their ways.
To your
and that
point
there will
quickly
be
about
punishment.
Dennis Rodman, during the Bulls run, I was covering the Bulls in 1998, their last run, okay? Yep. And at one point, I forget which game it was in the playoff run, Dennis Rodman showed up about 20 minutes before tip-off at the United Center. And Michael Jordan, in his post-game remarks at the podium, announced straight up, before a question was asked, we are not going to take any more of this BS, and he used the full word, from Dennis Rodman. He just announced it to the whole media pack at that point because they weren't going to take it. Right. And he wanted everybody to know it's over, that part is over. He's going to show up on time or he's not going to play anymore. So that's the leadership that I'm not sure this team has.
Yeah, okay, you had Michael.
Yeah.
That's Michael.
Yeah.
Who on Golden State?
I don't know.
Will go to Draymond. You said it's going to take all three of them.
Maybe all three of them go with David West.
Maybe.
Bring that just in case Draymond acts up. Bring David West.
You would
maybe Jerry West.
You would have thought.
Maybe.
Here's the thing, though. A normal, rational, prudent person would say, you know what? Everybody, and deep down, I even know, me being suspended for Game 5 cost us probably a repeat. I'm never going to put my teammates, I'm never going to put myself in that situation again. So what is it going to take, Skip? Now, you got suspended for a playoff game. You got an 11 text. You're probably going to get 12 because when they review that tape and they see you laying on your back and you kick Blake Griffin, they're going to give you 12. So you're 4 away from a suspension for one game. What is it going to take for you to realize you're doing as much harm as you are good to this ball club, Draymond? I love his game. I love his effort. I know when I watch the Golden State Warriors, he's going to give me everything he got every night.
Can the Warriors prove to Draymond they can win without him? I'm not sure they can.
They're 6-1. I mean, this, it's a small stat, but 6-1 over the last 3 years without him. Who would guard the bigs when that death lineup they love to play? Right. They need him. They absolutely need him.
They need him to go to the line, look over the line. College coach Bill Davis used to say, guys, today is going to be a tough practice. He said, I'm going to take you slowly to the edge, and I'm going to bring you back. He said, I'm not going to push you over. Draymond is going over. Steve Kerr said he's not stepping over. When you get technical fouls, you've gone over.
Yep.
Well, and I think to your earlier point, it shouldn't even take a leader on the team telling Draymond this. It should be internal. It should be something that he should realize on his own. Yep.
No mercy.
DeMarcus Cousins made his debut with the Pelicans last night, but it was in a blowout loss to the Rockets. Boogie had 27 points and 14 boards in the loss. After the game, Boogie talked about his New Orleans debut. Take a listen.
It flowed well in the beginning, and Coach even said it before the game. There's going to be times where we look great offensively, and it's going to look like complete which it did. It happened tonight. So it's just going to be a matter of time.
Skip, what did you learn last night?
I learned a lot, but here are the first two things I learned. Number one, as I told you the other day on Monday, I believe that DeMarcus Cousins would immediately begin to show you he's a little better player than Anthony Davis. And did he ever start to show you that last night? I predicted he would go 30 points and 14 rebounds, and it was 27 and 14. Sue me for that, but I still thought he should have shot 6 more free throws, and I'll get to that point in just a second. But what a stat line. 27-14, 5 assists, 5 steals, 4 blocks. Wow. And how about this number? He played 2 more minutes than Anthony Davis, yet Anthony Davis, in his time on the floor, had his second worst plus-minus of his career, a -31, while DeMarcus Cousins was only a -13 in a blowout loss at home. And yet, all of his stats couldn't overcome the fact that the Pelicans were just lost on defense, especially on the perimeter against the Rockets.
They weren't lost, Skip. That's just not a good match.
Well, they weren't there. But
Right.
I thought they were lost. I just didn't think they had any defensive principles. They left way too many wide open three-point shooters, and Houston ended up making 20. While the Pelicans made 6 out of 31. And by the way, Lou Williams, what a sweet pickup was he. He made 7 of 11 threes, scored 27 points. And Drew Holiday, the point guard, did look lost. He just didn't seem to know. He was 0 for 6 from 3 with only 4 assists. That was not a night that I expected from him.
Drew Holiday had us talking like he was Chris Paul or Kyrie Irving. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Why all of a sudden that we think he's going to transform into this all-time great point guard?
I think he's going to be better than that.
Yes.
He was
yes.
just shook up on opening up. Like the stage looked too big.
You remember when we saw him that, what was that, a Monday night? We saw him against the Cavaliers, and he had like 30.
He did.
Like 12 dimes.
Yep.
I'm looking for that
so
guy.
last night they obviously missed Buddy Hield and they missed Tyreek Evans because they don't have two guards. They don't have shooters to help space the floor the way Cousins can space the floor with Anthony. So they're a work in progress, but I still loved DeMarcus Cousins' line on a pretty shaky opening night for the Pelicans in their new era.
As good as Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis are, they still need more. Because when people, and the first thing that, when they paired these two together, the first thing that everybody said, this could be David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But David Robinson and Tim Duncan at some point had an Avery Johnson, had a Sean Elliott, had a Tony Parker, had a Bruce Bowen, had a Manu Ginobili, had a Robert Horry.
They did.
So with all, this is a great matchup.
It is.
This matchup for the Pelicans are great for Davis and Cousins, but it's horrible for everyone else. When you have a Lou Williams coming off the bench to give you 27, Gordon is averaging about 20. The bench gave them 79 points.
Yep.
Outscored the Pelicans bench 79-28. They were 20 of 51. Skip, you shoot 20, you make 23s, you got no chance to beat.
You're going to win. I agree.
I mean, they had like 7 guys with double figures, and they had 2 guys with 9 and another guy with 8. Almost everybody that played almost had double figures.
Yep.
This is going to take some getting used to for these guys, but even when you have 2 superstars, you still need some auxiliary pieces to play well. When you get 15 points from your other starters, you got no chance of winning, Skip. You got no chance of winning. Now, you mentioned Boogie Cousins' stat line, 27, 14, 5 assists, 5 steals, 4 blocks. You know who got a stat line like that, Skip? Anthony Davis earlier this year. This is why I told you on Monday he wasn't better than.
Oh, please.
This is why I
think
told
you can
you.
see. And by the way, DeMarcus was going out of his way to be unselfish to a fault, to make sure everybody was involved, especially Anthony Davis. Watch what happens over time. You will step back and say, well, the slightly better player here is the bigger player. It's DeMarcus Cousins. Yes.
Anthony Davis, like LeBron, everybody's like, well, D Wade took a step back like he shouldn't have. Like Kyrie took a step back like he shouldn't have.
I don't think Kyrie took a step back, but go ahead.
I mean, he's not, look, Kyrie is Kyrie. He can get buckets. He's the best finisher of any guard in basketball. He can finish at the rim with either hand. Skip. Now, you know he got mad handles. He put on them roller skates and be rolling, bouncing on everybody out there. But this situation, I still believe they can get to the 8th spot. But they're going to have to trade somebody. They got to get a 2 guard. They got to get more pieces to help Anthony Davis. Because right now, they just have 2 great players and a bunch of guys. As you mentioned, Drew Holiday, he can't play like this, Skip. He can't score 6 points.
Nope, he can't. And he won't. He won't. But here's my bottom line. Speaking of DeMarcus Cousins, he also played under a handicap last night that I thought was outrageously unfair because I thought that the refs made an opening night statement to him in his fresh start in New Orleans. They're saying, we're not going to give you a fresh start with us because last night there was a crucial stretch of the 3rd quarter, and it was like DeMarcus Cousins was unfoulable. The refs just let Houston just beat on DeMarcus Cousins because the Rockets knew they could get away with it. Let's just see play after play. He gets knocked on the floor and looks up like, what? What just happened here? Bang, he gets knocked sideways. No, what, no call? Are you kidding me? No call? Then check this out, another drive, he gets hammered again, no call. And again, I thought he went out of his way to control himself last night.
He should.
I know.
He shouldn't have to go out of his way. This is what you should, it's called being a professional, Skip.
Yep. Okay, and then let's go back to, pretty soon we're going to see the Nene sequences here. That's another drive where he got hammered, no call. Here comes Nene.
Do you want to skip?
Watch this. Nene just throws him on the floor. Oh, there's no call? Really? No call. That's interesting.
Whoa. Now, you know what, Skip? You know what? I'm so disappointed in you. Had that been LeBron James, oh, he's 6'9", 260 pounds. You mean to tell me that little guy did that to LeBron James?
They would have thrown Nene out for that.
No.
On LeBron, he'd be out of the game.
Boogie Cousins, 6'11", 275, and that little tap.
Are you kidding me? You don't get one foul call? We just saw 6 plays in a row in which he got no foul calls except for the double technical foul that he got when Nene and him sort of just wrestled.
There are 3 guys nominated for Oscars.
Wow.
Denzel for Fences,
so
Casey Affleck by Manchester by the Sea, and Boogie Cousins on that flop. And the Oscar goes to Boogie Cousins.
You for acting. you for acting like those weren't foul calls. You win.
Not that, Skip. Now you said let them play. Now this is what you would say had that
play.
This is what you would have said.
That's outrageous. Now teams just think, well, he's going to get no calls, so why don't we just hammer him every time?
This is what you would have said had that been LeBron. But Boogie Cousins outweighed LeBron by 20 pounds, and he's flopping all over. I thought it was a fish out of water. You know, when you catch a fish and you get him out of water, he starts flopping it.
Yeah. Obviously, he brought a lot of this on himself, but that was outrageously unfair, and the refs are saying, well, fresh start for you, but you have to re-earn your respect with us. I just think that's out of bounds.
I thought he played well. I thought he maintained his composure because probably had he been in this old situation, he would have gotten a tech because he'd probably said something that he shouldn't have said, one of the magic words. He'd have probably been flailing a lot more with his arms and continuously talking as he goes down the court. So I commend him for, he said that, he's going to be Boogie Cousins. He can't change totally, Skip, because it takes him out of who he actually is. But he understands, in order for him to go further and be the player that he wants to be, all the things that happened in Sacramento, because at first it was the coaches, then they said it was the Sacramento, the dysfunction at the organization, be it owner and Vlade Divac. They've removed all the coaches. He's out of that organization. So if he runs a foul now, whose fault is it, Skip?
Well, he's going to have to exercise extreme self-control from this point forward.
Like I do every day.
Yeah, you do. After you get hammered every day.
You still get busted up, Skip.
Yeah.
It's trending.
It's okay.
Bust Skip up on the red.
Oh, is it trending?
Yep.
Yeah.
No mercy. Jameis Winston made some controversial comments while giving a speech to elementary school students in Florida on Wednesday. Take a listen.
All my young boys stand up, man. The ladies sit down. Sit down. But all my boys stand up. Stand up. We strong, right? We strong, right? Okay, all my boys, just tell me one time. I can do anything I put my mind to. A lot of boys don't supposed to be soft-spoken. You know what I'm saying? One day y'all gonna have a very deep voice like this. Right now y'all talking like this, but one day y'all have a very, very deep voice. But the ladies, they supposed to be silent, polite, gentle. But my men supposed to be strong. Okay, so I want y'all to tell me what the third rule of life is. I can do anything I put my mind to. Scream it. All right, y'all can sit down now.
Winston apologized, saying that he used a poor word choice. Shannon, what's your reaction?
When you read it, I got the same reaction that I'm sure a lot of people did. But then I saw the video, and then I realized he didn't mean it in a malicious intent. He went further and explained himself that he felt he was talking to students that were between the 3rd and the 5th grade. And he said that he thought a couple of guys or a couple of students he was losing, they starting to wonder. And instead of just calling the guy or the 2 gentlemen out, he asked the guys to stand. Well, he should have just asked everyone to stand and said, hey, we can do everything. We can do anything that we want to. All of us are strong. There's some thought, many archaic way of thinking that women were supposed to be seen and not heard. They were not supposed to have a voice. They were supposed to just sit back and take a back seat. But we know women can be strong. Women can have voices. Women can do a lot of things now. And so he used a poor choice of words, Skip. Because of what happened to Jameis when he was at Florida State, a lot of people refuse to give him the benefit of the doubt. So everything that he says that could possibly be misconstrued, a lot of people want to leap to that conclusion. I don't do that. The man used a poor choice of words. As he gets better at speaking, be it older, professional athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, even young kids, the more you do something, the more proficient and better you come at it. Skip, I've always never had a problem speaking because at a very young age, my grandfather would have my brother and I, we would lead devotional service. He would make us pray. And I'm not talking about the Our Father's prayer. He would ask us to get up there and lead a prayer. And I was 6 years old, my brother was 9. And so I got very comfortable being in front of people speaking. But when I speak to people now, I always ask, okay, who am I speaking to? Demographic, because Skip, what you have to understand that everything that you say isn't going to resonate with everyone, but you just hope that you can give enough, or talk about a broad enough things and topics that someone can get something out of it. So maybe everybody doesn't get everything out of everything you say, but when you sit down, everybody can get something. And I just think that Jameis Winston used a poor choice of words. I don't think Jameis Winston was being malicious, and if you look at it, he was just trying to get the students engaged because he felt he was losing them. He used a poor choice of words. Women should not sit down. Women should not be silent. Women should not be meek. They should be strong. They should, whatever they choose to become in life, they should attack it with the same tenacity we would ask our young men to attack that task. Excuse me.
So anybody who's watched this show knows I'm a big fan of Jameis Winston, the quarterback. I think he's on his way to being a very good, maybe even a great quarterback. I even love him as a leader of a football team, a leader of men. But I'm not going to defend him for his poor award choice in this case. I just think he delivered a very wrong message.
You believe it was malicious?
Well, I don't, what's malicious mean? It's just
intent.
Well, he was just Jameis. I think he gave you a glimpse into his worldview, his life view. And here's my point. I'm back to the issue of that runs much deeper than what we're talking about, which is why in this country, or in a lot of countries, when did athletes become the ultimate role models? And again, I think I have a better view of this than you do because I've covered so many star athletes. You are or were a star athlete. And I don't know where we lost track of athletic achievement somehow equating into godlike or saintly behavior on and off the court or the field, because it does not.
Because when we decided we wanted other people to raise our kids instead of ourselves.
That is correct.
That's where it came from.
I am with you. And in my long experience in this business, covering professional athletes, knowing so many over so many decades, I find that they most often make the worst role models because of the temptations, because of the money, because everything's at your fingertips. All the worst temptations in life, as you well know, were always right at your fingertips in ways they weren't at my fingertips or other people's fingertips, right?
Right, correct.
So it's hard to be a role model when you're a professional athlete making that much money with that much idolatry. So my issue is, who chose, who would even have the first thought to think, let's put Jameis Winston, after all he went through at Florida State, and again, has he rehabilitated himself? Has he grown as a man? I'm sure he has. But is he ready to stand in front of 3rd to 5th graders and deliver life lesson wisdom to those kids? I don't know if he's ready to do that yet. I don't know if he's the right guy to do that.
I think the thing is, Skip, if you ask a kid or from in that age group, 3rd to 5th grade, and you bring a doctor, a lawyer, a policeman, a fireman, and a professional athlete, which one you think the kids are going to choose?
They're raised to choose the pro athlete.
And that's
they're taught to do that.
And see, for me, and what I've always tried to explain to kids is that, look, although I try to live my life the right way, you watching me 2.5 hours on Sunday doesn't give me the authority to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. My role models growing up was my brother and my grandmother because I had an opportunity to see them every day. My role model, and I tell kids this, Your role model should be at your dinner table. The role model should be someone that you come in contact with because I can catch a football, because I can run fast, I can dunk. That doesn't make me. I should be your role model because you don't know what I do behind closed doors. You don't know what I do when you don't see me on television. Jameis made a poor choice of work. And what bothers me is that we hold athletes so accountable for any misstep. But we have politicians that can say and do anything, and we give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, that's locker room talk, or that's not what he meant. We will say someone, a grown man that's been in this business for an extended period of time, can say whatever, do whatever. That's not what he meant. Jameis Winston, I do not believe that Jameis Winston was malicious in his actions. He made a poor choice of words. No, he made a poor choice of words, Skip. He was trying to get the kids motivated because he felt some of these guys were starting to drift off. And it's hard to keep the attention span of kids that age. First of all, it's hard to keep my attention span. That's why I got to go to the movies. I can't watch movies at home because guess what, Skip? I'm going to get on my phone. I'm going to flip the channel. So it's hard to keep my attention span. I'm 49. So imagine the 3rd to 5th graders. But they're happy to see him. In that area, Jameis Winston is godlike to these kids. They know him. I would have been the same way. Now, if Mean Joe Green or Ozzie Newsome or Kellen Winslow had come to talk to my school, Skip, I'm going to be on there. I'm listening because I want talk about no policeman. One of my best friends' dad was a policeman. I didn't want to be him. I want to be an athlete.
Sure.
And so that resonated. Now I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be F. Lee Bayless at one point in time, but not now. He's been disbarred, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, you've been disqualified on this show.
But Skip, we need to stop that every misstep that an athlete or a person make, we run to shun them. We want to put them in the iron castle and lock them up and throw away the key.
Okay, but remember, most people are putting Jameis on that pedestal of role model.
He's a human being, and he's a flawed human being. As we all see, that's the thing, though, Skip. Why do we hold people to such a high standard that we don't hold ourselves to?
So, do you think it's correct that at this stage of Jameis's growth, he's still a very young man who's been through a lot on and off the field?
Yes.
Is it right yet to put him in front of 3rd to 5th graders and hope that he says all the right things? It's not in my book. Maybe give him 5, 6, 10 more years, maybe so, but not now.
You said in your book it's not right now, and maybe 5 to 10 years. But in some people's book, it's never going to be the right time. Because that's the thing. We are so, they say that God, he says, trust me and I'll show you. Man says, show me and I'll trust you. No matter what Jameis Winston does, some people will never forgive what transpired in college. I'm not here to relitigate that. I'm not going to say what did or what. That's not here nor there. But I'm saying for what happened then, that's what he will continuously be judged by. Some people judge Ben Roethlisberger the exact same way. Think about it. Michael Vick is still the most hated football player for dogfighting that happened 10 years ago, even though he's been one of the Humane Society and ASPCA outspoken. He's done more for that than anybody in the history. But they still, because they will not ever, ever forgive him.
I agree.
And that's what Jameis Winston is up against. And once he realized that, Jameis, live your life. Continuously going and talking and trying to reach young men and women. You will get better at speaking. I'm not going to condemn Jameis Winston because I believe he made an honest mistake.
Well, I think it's important to recognize that we can simultaneously give credit where credit is due. Jameis's heart was in the right place.
Yes.
He felt like he had an opportunity to make an impact and be a positive influence, so he took that opportunity on. But I think it's also important to criticize the message that, even if not maliciously, was given out and the mentality that it represents, because that's a harmful and detrimental message to both the boys and the girls that were in that room, being told that there is a difference between whether or not you can be strong, whether or not you should be soft-spoken. It's not just detrimental to girls to hear that they should be soft-spoken, but also to boys to think that that's how they should view girls and women growing up. So I think this can be a learning opportunity for Jameis.
Two things can be true.
And if he is truly with his heart in the right place, he can use this as an opportunity to spread a positive message moving forward.
No mercy.
This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed Undisputed podcast, where we are delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Elika Sadeghi, filling in for Joy Taylor. Undisputed is back next week with more debates and fun. We will talk to you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.